it's Rose. Welcome back to Journals in Time, and welcome if you're new. So today's video is the challenge video for the Get Your Chic On event over at the Junk Journal Trading Post with Rachel Bella Crafts. I think this is going to be challenge number 5, if I'm not mistaken. And today we are making some journal cards, but we are making journal cards with a little twist. So I have here off to the side a few bits and pieces that I have picked out that I want to work with. And let's get started. So what I'm going to do today, I am going to make windowed journal cards. Okay, so I'm using up some of these index cards, or revision cards, whatever you want to call them. These ones are actually a bit of a strange size, or they seem to be a bit of a strange size to me anyway. They are 5 by 3, but I like the size of them for journal cards. They're actually a nice size as well for a pocket. So I'm going to use these today. So I have some pages from our kits, from both the Simple Pleasures kit and the Get Your Chic On kit. Fabulous! And we are going to use these. Now, because we're putting windows in these, I am not sticking anything together just yet, okay? So the first thing I want to do, I want to figure out which piece of the page, of each of the pages, I want to use. Now I had thought that I might use this and just get this lady here and then have a window over here so that his legs will be gone. I don't know how that's going to work out, but I'm going to have a look at it. I'm going to cut it out as if I was going to do that and see how we get on. So I'm just holding this up to the light so that I can see through the other side where my card is positioned, and I'm going to get my ruler and just draw around that. Now I will be able to trim later as well, so I'm not too worried about it being perfect here. I just want to have the piece that I'm working with so that I know what I'm at, and so that it'll fit into my tiny little die cutting machine as well. I pulled out the small one so that I would be able to actually do this on camera for you guys. Okay, so I'm just going to draw around my image here, and we'll do this one and see how we get on, and then we'll do the rest. Okay, and now obviously you can use whatever paper you want for this. I want to use these pieces. So I have marked on the back of this now what piece I want. I'm just going to get that cut out. Like so. Now I know it looks a bit strange with his legs there, but I'm hoping that, now I'm actually after losing one of my dies as well. I'm using dies for this. Yeah, that will actually look a bit strange, I think. Yeah, I think no matter what I do there, it's going to look strange. Okay. Now, I did kind of think that it might. There's the other one. Yeah. I could always just cover that up, but I could just turn it around and use that. Or I could use this bit down here. Or I could use this bit up here. We have options, is what I'm trying to say. And I actually did think about using these ladies, so I might just go ahead and use that instead. See if I can get a nice position on that. Yeah, that's pretty. So I'm just going to do the same again. So you can audition different pieces of your paper, see whether they'd work for what you want or not. I'm using a slightly thicker paper at the moment, so it's harder to see when I hold it up to the light exactly what's going on. But, you know, just trial and error. So there we have that. I'll get that cut out. It's just with that man's legs in the way. Men, they're always getting in the way, aren't they? Even when we're junk journaling, eh? The only men in the whole thing, and he's getting in the way. Ay, ay, ay. Anyway. Alright. So, yeah, that'll look pretty on there. Yeah. And let's see which window we want. Now I think because I have a lot of scope beside those girls there, I'm actually going to use the butterfly on this one. Okay, so although one thing I will say, when you are doing these, if you're using like shaped dies, be aware that it's just the shape, the outline shape, that is going to be used here. So any patterning on the inside or anything, that's not going to have any effect on what we're doing. But so make sure your outside shape gives you the actual shape that you want. For example, with something like this, you're just going to get circles basically. I mean, that's all you're going to see, which could be quite nice as well. But if you're hoping for it to look like cogs and a clock and things, it's not going to happen. It's just the basic outline of the die that you're going to see. Similarly with this one, you're not going to see that that's a shell. It'll probably be obvious anyway with the scalloped edge, but that's pretty much all you'll get. You'll get the very basic shape of it, okay? So that's just a word to the wise. I mean, any of your basic shapes will work. Squares, rectangles, ovals, hearts even would be lovely as well. I don't actually have a heart die. I really should do something about that. But you could use any kind of die shape for this. You could use a flower die, which would be lovely. I don't think I have one that would fit nicely on here. And a lot of the flower dies as well, you lose the actual flower itself because the detail is in the center. So anyway, onwards. When you are using your dies, you kind of need to make sure that you're not going to be taking too close to the edges, okay? Now, because we are going to be gluing these together, essentially, I'm not going to worry too much about it, but I am still going to try and leave as much space over here as possible. So I'm just trying to see, I could do it that way. I'm getting less space there, so I'm thinking that I might do it this way, like so. And I'm going to just get that taped into place. I'm also going to tape my two pieces together so that they don't shift, because they may not be cut perfectly. So just like that. Now this tape has been detacked several times over. I've used it and used it, so it's not going to stick to my papers. And let's get our little die cut machine. Now this particular die cut machine, it's a very cheapy one, and I know myself that it needs a shim in there, okay? So I'm putting my shims in there as well. And I may have to go over and back with this one several times, but I won't make you watch that if I do. So I'll get it through, get it back. And let's see what we've got. Almost all the way through, so I'm just going to turn that around and see if I can get it to go again. Okay, so I'll keep working with this until I get it cut all the way through, and I'll be back to you guys. But I think this should do it. Almost. Okay, so I think that's good now. Let's pop our die out. Oh, be careful that you don't rip your paper like I just did. The tape didn't rip it. I caught it with the die on the way up and just gave a tiny little rip like that. But it'll be fine. Okay, so. And we end up with a lovely little butterfly to play with later. Just pop that out so you can see. Oh, pretty butterfly. That is a pretty die, I have to say. Very cute. Okay. So you end up with some die cuts to play with later for some other project. Okay, so that is that part. Now, I am realising that before I did this, I should have treated the back of my card. Now, all I'm doing with the back of my card here, I'm just going to take some of these lovely paints. We've seen these in the last video. I'm going to take my brayer. Voila. I'm going to get a little bit of paint on my glass mat, and I'm just going to brayer over it. I may or may not do full coverage. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay. Okay, so that's what we have on that one right now. Very pretty, pretty. Hope you can see the colours. I'm going to go ahead and actually get my other two done as well, because I can. It'll give these time to be drying while I am doing other stuff. Okay, so I have another two ready to go there. We'll leave those dry off for now. So, what are we doing here? Now, we know that this is going to go here. And this is going to need to be positioned very precisely, methinks, on the butterfly side. Okay. So, what do we want in our window? So, I have three options here. I think I will use this for this one. This is some wax paper that I used to do a wax resist at one point. You may remember that video. It was back quite a while. I still have lots of this beautiful wax paper left. Just has the pattern from my embossing folder on it. Now obviously you could use vellum, you could use tracing paper, emboss it and use that. So I'm just using this up. Just want to figure out which way I want it. And I'm just going to put it into our butterfly. Now before I do that, I'm thinking, do I want to ink that butterfly? And I think I do. So what do I want to ink it with? Do I want to ink it with blue, pink, white, antique linen, or vintage photo? Now I am staying away from the vintage photo and things like that for these projects. So I'm thinking I might actually go with the pink. It'll pick up lovely on the pink in here. This blue is dominating right now, and there's blue over here. So I want to pick up on the pink. So I have my Victorian Velvet, my little makeup sponge. Yes, I know Linda sent me extra daubers and stuff, but I didn't know I was going to be using this, so I didn't have it set up. So we'll just continue on with this for now. And I'm just going to ink the very edges from behind, because I don't want to get too much of the pink on the actual paper. I kind of want to keep it to the edges, really to the edges, you know. Ugh, and then that happens. But that'll be fine. It'll be okay. It's going to look pretty either way. Awesome. Ugh, Craftalanche going on here. Who is it that says that, Craftalanche? Is that Julie from Camellia Crafts Designs? I can't remember, but somebody is. It could be Pam at the Paper Outpost as well. I have a Craftalanche going on, not sure, but yeah, that's where I picked it up. And now I say it all the time, because there's always Craftalanches going on in my craft room. Okay, so that just gives a little bit of definition and a little bit of colour around the edge. And let's see what it'll look like with that. I think that's going to be so pretty. Oh, so pretty. Now, what I would love to have here is some of those pearlescent powders. You know, Rachel has a really nice ink actually at the moment. What is it called? Diamond Brilliance or something like that. I'd love something like that. I actually don't have anything like that in a powder that I could just rub over the top of this. But it would look awesome. So, what's my next step? I need to cut a piece of this off to fit in my window, like so. I'm not going to be too particular about where I cut it. I just want a nice clean piece that doesn't have too many wrinkles and things, and that has the patterning on it. So the pattern fades off to the edge here, so I'm going to kind of bring it over here a little bit. Just around about there is fine. Okay. Just going to rough cut this out. Oh, this wax paper doesn't want to cut for me. Let's see how I did on that. Yeah, that'll be totally fine. Now, because this is wax paper, I can actually cut off quite a bit of that off here. Yeah. So because this is wax paper, I am going to use double-sided tape on this. Hopefully that will keep it down, but we'll be sandwiching this anyway, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. So I'm just going to get some little bits of double-sided tape. It doesn't have to be a perfect, you know, it doesn't have to be perfectly around, as long as it's sticking down and it's not coming up, because like I said, we are going to be sandwiching it anyway. You could put a double layer of this stuff and put something in between them. Lots of things you can do here. You can do shakers, you can do, you could put an image behind it. Lots and lots of awesome options. Just put another bit down here. So how have you guys been? I am really enjoying the shabby chic month of May. I hope you guys are too. Go. Oh, and I have just yesterday I think, finished my Irish journal, so there will be a flip through of that up on the channel very soon. Loved working on that. I had so much fun with that one. Get a little bit up here, and one more tiny bit to go across here. We will get our the back of our tape off. So we have all our tape off. Next thing we need to do is get our piece of whatever, whether it's acetate, tracing paper, you name it, and put it into place. Now I'm trying to stay away from the edges a little bit so that I'll have some scope for gluing when it comes to that. Just like so. Okay. Now I'm going to trim away some of this excess. If you're using something that will stick down easier, you don't really need to do this part. Because I'm using the wax paper, I just feel like the less of it that's in there, the better, because it doesn't stick very easily. Okay? So, that is what we have. We've got our little window. Lovely! So cute! And we need to get our other piece into place on the back, and it'll be nicely sandwiched in there, and we have the window on both sides. Love it. So how do I want to go about this? I'm going to get some more tape on this side of the wax paper just to be sure that it will stick nicely. I'm not going to be overly worried about getting it absolutely everywhere, but you know, we'll get some in there. Like so. And because I am going to want a little bit of wiggle room on this, I am going to actually put some going to put some glue stick just around the edges of this butterfly here. In fact, I'm actually going to put it all the way around. I'm going to use glue stick all over, and that will give me some wiggle room on top of that tape, but the tape will then come into play as well as it dries. And make sure it's all stuck down nicely. Making sure I get a good amount of glue on there, especially at our corners and edges, and we can get that on the back. These are so easy to do, guys, so easy, and they turn out so cute. Got way too much glue on there. True to form for me. Okay, I think that is pretty good. Okay, so there is the basic construction of that one. Isn't that cute? I love it. Okay, so we're going to do two more similar ones, but just with slight variations, okay? Look at that, I stuck my glue stick upside down. Oh, I'm so silly. Okay, so for the next one, let's use Rachel's beautiful rose page here. I think this is just gorgeous. Stunning. And let's pick out which part we want. Now, anywhere on this will be stunning. So, you know, I do like that flower down here. I also love this over here. So many gorgeous areas in this, and something's going to get cut off, so I don't know what to do here. Ay, ay, ay. Could go right to the end here and have that. I don't want the yellow bit in there. Not because I don't like it, just because. Just because. Simple as that. Need I say more? Now, I'm just wondering if I turn it this way, could I? No, that wouldn't work. Okay. Okay, so I'm thinking I'm going to have this rose just up in one corner, and we'll get this lovely patterning over here as well. So, let's get that marked out. And I'm going to do the two of these together. So I'm going to get this one marked out and get the next one marked out. And I'll cut the two of them then. Doing the same thing, just drawing around the back of my card. That's that. And the next one, I am using the collage page from the Simple Pleasures kit. And I think I want to incorporate this lady somehow. So let's get this situated. I'm going to have her in the corner, but still being kind of a focal image. Okay, so that's the two of those marked out. I'm going to go and get them cut out, and I'll be right back to you guys. Okay, so we have our two pieces there. Let's have a look and see which of these windows works best with both of those. So I have an oval and I have this little frame piece. Now, just to say as well, if you don't have dies, you can use a circle punch. You can use just a craft knife and a ruler and cut out a square or a rectangle. Don't need to have dies and die machines and all the rest of that for this. I'm just using them because I have them. I'm thinking I will go that way with that one. I kind of want to use the butterfly one on this one again. Is that weird? Oh, but wouldn't that be pretty? Ah! And I actually just had another thought. I could do something like that. Interesting. Interesting. Okay, so I'm going to do that frame one down there. And then with the oval, I think, yeah, going to do it there. And I'm actually changing my mind and putting the rose down at the bottom corner instead of up at the top. Go figure. Okay, so let's get those cut out. I need to get my cards behind them and get those into place as well. I'll tape them up the exact same way I did the last one. Just going to grab some tape here. Okay, so we have our windows cut. Okay, so what are we using in these now? I have some pink lace. And I also have, now this is a little bit of an experiment. I have this beautiful ribbon that Phyllis sent me. Thank you, Phyllis. Hi! And I'm thinking that I might double some of this over and have it double-sided in one of these. So do I put it in this one or this one? Oh, I think it'll have to go in that one. Yes, it's going into this one, and then we'll put the lace in here. Okay, so there's three options for what you want to put inside them, which is awesome. And there are lots more things, obviously, that you could put in there. Like I said, you could use lace, tracing papers, vellums. Printed vellum would be lovely. Printed acetate, actually. Oh my goodness, I never thought I should have done some printed acetate. Ah, some roses printed on some acetate and put in there would be beautiful. Printed vellum would be just as nice, actually. So, but I'm working with what I've got. Okay. Now I am going to, this is a wired ribbon, so I'm just going to remove the wire from the sides. You could also just put some music paper in here, you could put an image in here, lots and lots of options. Some music paper in there actually might be quite nice. So to get the ribbon out of this, I'm just taking it, holding it where the ribbon is and scrunching the fabric up a little bit. That exposes the wire. And you can just pull it out, just like that, okay? Same on the other side. Now, how do I want to go about this is another thing. Let me see where we are at. I'm going to cut off these little seams very, very carefully trying to leave as much as possible of the actual ribbon. I'm going to glue it with my fabric glue. That will probably stop it fraying as well for me. So I'm just pretty much gluing along the edges. Don't think it needs to be glued in the middle. I'm going to set my phone on top of this for a second. I'm actually going to put it over here and do it, okay, out of the way. And while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to ink the edges of these frames. These ones are much easier to ink than the butterfly one. Still managed to mess it up though. But it is shabby chic we're doing, so it's fine. And I'm using the pink on both of these as well, I think. I can see myself experimenting a bit more with this concept, putting different things in and different shapes and different compositions and things. It's a fun one. And just to say as well, you can put anything you want on the back of these, guys. It doesn't have to be an index card. You can use anything you want. You just use plain white card, cover it with pretty paper, do whatever takes your fancy. This is just what I decided to do. And okay, that should be good to go. Oh, let's see. Yeah. So, while this isn't see-through, you do get the double look on both sides, which I think is really cute. And if you were better with a sewing machine than I am, a little stitch around the oval would be just gorgeous. I am not going to attempt that. Okay, so what do we need to do to get this into place then? I think fabric glue is the best thing to actually get this down. A little bit on the edge of this as well, just to make sure that it's not interfering with anything, that it's not going to lift. All the rest of that. I know it's going to be sandwiched, but you know. What you don't want to do here is get glue in the center of your fabric, or whatever it is you're putting in here. That would be a disaster, darling. Well, maybe not quite a disaster, but you know. Yep, that looks good. Awesome. And I'm going to go ahead, get a little bit more of this glue down here, and down here, and up here, and I'm also going to get it around this window. And while I'm waiting for that glue to set up a little bit, because fabric glues always benefit from a little time to set up, I'm going to get some oohoo on the rest of it. And because I left that tape in place on it, I can just flip this over now. And also, because it's not see-through, if there's any little discrepancy in where it's placed, it's totally fine. So that's that one. I'm going to take the tape off here as well because I will forget. Gorgeous. I think that's really sweet. Ah, so cute. Okay, so that is two very different looking journal cards. Now these aren't finished, obviously. I am going to decorate these a little bit for you guys. And last but not least, you've seen this one a million times. We're going to get some lace in here, close it down, and we'll have a little lace window in there. Okay, so I'll go on ahead and I'll get that done. I'm going to try and get that little flower central in there, I think. Just like that. Very cute. And it's actually a really good match for these roses here. Awesome, 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 awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead with that and I'll be back to you guys very shortly. Okay, so we have all three done. Aren't they looking really, really cute, guys? I am loving them. Absolutely adorable. Okay, so what's next? Next is the decoration. So they are still journal cards, even though they have those windows. I mean, there's still plenty of space for writing on the back of these, okay? So, I think they're fab. And the next thing I'm going to do, I am going to run some of that pink ink around the edges, I think. Just very lightly. Just kind of frame them and take the white edge off, okay? So we have that inking done. What is next? Oh, I think these are adorable. Just trying to look and see what can be added. I mean, this one is beautiful just by itself, okay? But it looks a bit plain. This one is gorgeous just by itself as well. But again, just a bit plain looking. What can we do to dress these up? And again, same. This looks absolutely stunning just by itself. But I feel like they need something else. Now, because I'm doing these as journal cards, I'll want to keep my embellishments relatively flat. But if you were using these as a pocket, for instance, you could go to town with putting little flower embellishments and building it up 3D and all the rest of that. It would be beautiful. Some stitching around here would be gorgeous. And I'm just wondering, do I want to stitch around the edges of all of them? I'm not sure that I actually do. I know I want this butterfly on here. I think that will be just gorgeous. And it will probably be just like that. One thing I do want to do after just looking at them there for a second, I want to round my corners. I'm just going to use the smallest round I have, that's the 4mm round, and just snip the edges of those very quickly. Okay, so because we know we want to use this butterfly here, I'm going to get this one in place anyway. I can't imagine myself doing it any other way, so I'm going to put it there where I initially said. Let's get that done. Okay, so there guys, we have 3 journaling cards with windows or inclusions, whichever way you want to call it. But I think they are very, very interesting and very cute and so shabby. If these were pocket pieces, I would decorate them differently, but because they're journal cards and they will need to go into a pocket, we wanted to keep the decorations flat. Now I could have gone and I could have put laces and the whole lot, ruffles and everything on these, and that's maybe something you want to experiment with yourself. But like I said, I wanted to keep these flat. I love these. I think they look awesome. I think they will be a lovely surprise coming out of a pocket in a journal. So yeah, very, very happy with those. So your challenge for this week over at the Junk Journal Trading Post with Rachel Bellacross is to make at least 1 window journal card. Okay? Bonus if you make 3. Okay guys, so that is it from me for today. I will see you all very, very soon in the next video. Bye!